Hello dancers, and welcome back to the channel. I am excited to talk today about the difference between resistance bands and dumbbells for dancers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you can get notified of any new videos that we post on our channel. And if you are ready to train smarter and dance stronger overall, then let's get started. So firstly, it's important to note that both resistance bands and dumbbells can be used for strength training because it's adding extra resistance to our body, right? That's what we want for strength training. When we are using dumbbells, for instance, let's go ahead and talk about the pros of using dumbbells or kettlebells. Could also apply to this. When we're using those, it's a little bit easier to track the weight that we're using, track the resistance, because it tells you these are 10-pound weights. It tells you how much resistance, how much weight each dumbbell is. So if we're doing an exercise and we can do 10 pounds, and then maybe after a few weeks we can do 15, we can easily log that into our notebook, our journal, our program log, whatever we are using to track that weight. They are also pretty versatile. We can use dumbbells for a lot of things, like whether we're holding it in our hands or we're putting it maybe on top of our hips for a glute bridge exercise. We have lots of different options for this one as well. There are plenty of exercises out there for these dumbbell exercises and dumbbell usage. Some of the cons of dumbbells, though, are that they are pretty bulky and heavy, obviously. So you usually need a little bit more storage space for dumbbells. And once you have 10 pounds, you're probably going to need 15, 20, 25 pound dumbbells, and that requires a lot of storage space. So that could be a con, especially if you are in a situation where you don't have that space to store it, then that could pose an issue. Another con is that they can be a little bit more expensive than bands. Usually, like, you can find cheaper options from like yard sales or garage sales, or even like on eBay. Amazon has some pretty affordable options, but you can also go to other shops like Big Five or Dick's Sporting Goods, something like that. That would be a con as well. But overall, they're great for building muscle mass and tracking that resistance over time. All right, let's talk about resistance bands now. So whether you have a band that's a loop, or if you have a band that is a long resistance band like this, they provide what's called accommodating resistance. So this means that the more you stretch the band, the more resistance it's going to provide. So they're pretty stretchy. They have usually, this is a medium band, I believe. Yeah, it has like 2 little dots. They usually come in a lot of different sizes, lengths, and resistances. So I recommend, if you are going to use resistance bands, getting one that has multiple options, like a pack of 3 or pack of 5. Some pros to using resistance band are that they are portable and really easy to like throw in your dance bag or keep in your car or in your purse, something like that. Another pro that I like is that gives you a different stimulus than dumbbells for certain exercises. So providing that accommodating resistance, sometimes it can make it more challenging at the very end of the range of motion than at the beginning. So there are a lot of different ways you can use the dumbbells as well. Excuse me. These are resistance bands, not dumbbells. There's a lot of different ways you can use the resistance bands as well. And they're great to put in your dance bag and be able to use whenever you need. Some cons of the resistance bands are that they do wear out over time. So if you have really old bands, especially if you leave them in hot temperatures, like the trunk of your car, then they can get a little stretched out, and you have to be careful because they can like snap as you're using them, like snap in half. So that is one of the cons. One of the other cons is that it could be harder to measure your progress and how much resistance you're actually using, because since they have more resistance with more stretch, we don't really know how much resistance we're using. We can just use the bands to kind of measure our progress. So in that sense, I do prefer dumbbells over resistance bands because I think it's easier to track progress. However, there are plenty of pros to resistance bands as well. I think that if you are on a tight budget or you want to do exercises kind of on the go, like maybe you are a professional dancer and traveling a lot, then resistance bands would definitely be good for you to use. I also wanted to quickly show you a couple examples of how bands can be used in replacement of dumbbell exercises. So one of the ones for upper body that I want to show you is for lateral raises. So you can do lateral raises with a dumbbell, holding it in your hand, opening out to the side and back down, which is for the middle part of the deltoid here, your shoulder. You could also do it with a resistance band by just putting the band underneath your knees and then going out and in like that. So that is an easy example of how to use the band in replacement of dumbbells. Another one that I love to use is a single leg glute bridge on your back. So if you had a dumbbell, you can place it right on your hips and then press up and down like that. Or if you had a resistance band, you can take it apart, lay down and place on your hips, and then press up into the band with extra resistance. So that is another example of how you can do the same exercises with either a dumbbell or a resistance band. Overall, I do think you can make progress with both the dumbbells and the resistance bands. If you're in the position to get both, then even better, get both. If this video was helpful in making a decision for you about whether or not to invest in dumbbells or bands, then leave a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and look out for our next video. Have a great day.